Hello everyone, welcome to a tutorial on how to use Humbug and Metaphor. Um, I've got a demo. I made a web app using Humbug, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to implement one of the new features today and show you guys how quick and easy it really is. What we're looking at now is my Metaphor file. It's got all my context clues and everything, and we're just going to, on Humbug, open up a new conversation using this Metaphor file. See at the bottom, it's got all the embeds, and then when I open up this new file, it's going to open up the actual files on the prompt there. I'll just put this in the chat. At the bottom of the metaphor file, it says review it, don't make any comments, and that's exactly what the assistant here says. The model I'm using is actually Claude 3.5. So I've got this Humbug project open on Eclipse. Here, this is just how I'm going to be running my Spring Boot project. I'm going to show the project now before I delve in to how I'm going to make new feature addings and how I'd, talk to Humbug and implement it all. So on Eclipse here, I'm just going to run the project and I'm just going to wait for that to load up. At the moment, everything is run on local hosting. So I've got a local SQL server and I'm just going to be opening up the local web page. The web app itself is meant to be a little tool where students can open up and learn Welsh, and you'll have a teacher side of it which will, create lessons, make quizzes. It's just a simple app. So this is all made using Humbug and Metaphor. So I'll just show you a quick lesson overview. There's quizzes that you can do, which will log your quizzes with sound questions and everything. There's the vocabulary list, which lets you edit the vocabulary, edit the quizzes, add vocabulary, and even edit the lesson. So what the lesson name, description, and the sound prompts used in each lesson. If you go to progress here, it will show you all the quizzes I've taken, what I've gotten right and what I've gotten wrong. One feature that I'm going to implement today is the fact that teachers can't see the progress of the students. So the prompt I used is, I would like a page that is only available to the teacher role. I put this first because I feel like it could get lost in translation to the AI. So this page will show a list of students, and then when one of the students is selected, it will show the teacher that student's progress page. The link to the page will be on the index page. So I've tried to keep it simple and concise, and I've only told Claude what to do, and he will return back to me the code and what it should do. So he's given me a full file here, which we will look at in a second. But if you look, he's given me another full file for the student page. And then he's given me just snippets of different files that I can put. I have to edit my current files. So the first one is the student controller, which is a new controller method he's told me to make. And then there's the students.html page. And then this little snippet I have to put into my index page, which is just the link for the teachers. So we'll just do what he says, and we're going to just copy and paste this file. I'm going to open up Eclipse and make the new file here. Make sure my naming is correct. So this was a student controller. And I'm just going to copy and paste it in. And check for any errors. Everything seems good. Alright, moving on to the next page now. And we have the students.html. And I'm just looking at the top bit here. It says to put it in templates slash teachers, which is a new folder. So I go and look at my resources here, my templates, and I do not have a teachers folder. So I'm just going to go make a new folder. And then I'm going to make students.html and copy and paste that in. And then this is just a little link here. And so I just add this to the index page. It's just got the if the role's teacher, show the link to the teacher and students. They already had an if here for the role teacher, so I decided just to combine both my anchors and put it in. And I'm just going to reload the server here and check it out and see, because I combined both the anchors, I've actually put them on the same listing element, which was my mistake, but we can still click the link and we see we have a student list here of one student and then one named Annie. If we click on the progress page, and it is coming up empty. So I'm just going to double check that this student does actually have progress on their progress page and make sure it's finding where the problem is. And as you can see, there are attempts made for this student, so the bug is somewhere in the backend, and I would assume one of the controller methods. Yeah, we're just double checking everything. We can check the student, and there's nothing there. So I'm going to go through my debugs. Oh, first I fixed this listing element. And just made that all right there. And now I need to check why this progress is not loading. So I'm going to check if there's any errors on the page. Anything that's not loading in properly, and just check on the console here. And there's nothing which is not being reported, which is fine. So now I'm just going to go through my debug logs in my Eclipse. And you can see, if I scroll up a bit, it's going to be getting Annie's progress here, and nothing is printing out. So the next thing to do is just tell Humbug what's happening, what went wrong, and I'm sure it'll be able to figure it out pretty quickly. So my next prompt into Humbug is saying that I can see the list of students, so that is implemented properly, but when clicked, their progress page is not showing. Good catch, it says. And we'll go through its reasoning and what it's giving me now. Just have to let it run first. This is about done. Okay, so right at the top it says the progress controller is using authenticated users to fetch the results. So because I wasn't logged in as Annie, I couldn't see a progress page. So we are going to be changing progress controller. And if you look right at the bottom here, it says rest of the code is the same. So it's only telling me to change a few bits of the code, which it does to reduce the amount of output tokens, which is pretty helpful. It saves us money on using the APIs. It just means I have to double check what it wants me to change, and so that I don't mess it up on my part. So I'm going to open up this progress controller.java, and the get mapping / progress is completely different, but it looks like it's changed that method into the authentication user method, I believe it's called, or show progress for user method, and then um, it's got the progress method as something slightly smaller. So I just copy and paste what it wants me to do, and I'm just going to rewrite this method that I have already. And that is all fine. We get a couple errors here, but we got a whole rewrote on Eclipse, and it'll say that I can't import it, but that will change in a second. This is just a problem with Eclipse. So we import the path variable, which is easy enough, and then we go back to pre-authorize, and we'll just import that too. And everything seems to be completely fine. And it wants me to change the progress page here, and it's got bits to add here. So this content stays the same, that adds a header, and then that content stays the same, that adds a little bit here. So the amount of tokens in this output is really small, but I'm messing up and not implementing it improperly. So instead, I'm going to just input, I'm going to ask it to give me the whole file, and that way I will not be able to make any mistakes. So it's finished printing out here. I'm just going to copy and paste it and put it in. And just paste that in. I've got no errors through the project. Everything seems to be fine. So I'm just going to rerun it now and reopen the server. So this has actually failed to compile here, and it is because if you just scroll through a little bit, it cannot map the student controller properly, and it's having errors because there is already a progress controller, it says, which is easy enough problem to fix, but I'm just going to feed all these errors through Humbug and make sure that I'm not missing anything, and Humbug will be able to read this a lot more easily than I can. So I don't need to ask it to do anything, I'll just put the error in and it should recognize where it went wrong. Student controller, progress controller. Yep, so it just tells me to remove the student progress method from the student controller here. And it tells me to keep the method in the progress controller. So I'm just going to go to the student controller up here. And delete that. And we're just going to rerun the server. Reload the page. Log back in as teacher. And this should put me on the student list page. Or yep. Oh, it's gone straight to the progress. And as you can see, we are logged in as the teacher and we can see the progress for our student here. We'll go back to the student list and check, and there is no quizzes done for this student, so it's even got the error checking. And that is the full implementation done. It's taken only 3 queries with the AI. It's super quick and easy to do. And now I will show you how to finish up and move on to editing this metaphor file. So I'll go back to Humbug here quickly, and I'm just going to ask it to change this metaphor file here. So I'll copy this and put it into Humbug. This way it doesn't have to read through all the embeds because they're just links here. And whereas if I asked it in the chat just to change the metaphor file, it will get confused because there's a lot of code that it has to read through. So I just copy in the base metaphor file and ask it to give me changes for it. So give me student management and teacher navigation context, which I can copy, move over to the metaphor file here, and you could put this in anywhere in this kind of base like bulk of it, but I thought under progress tracking was a fitting place. And we're just going to copy it in, and just from how the copy and paste works, we just have to fix some indenting errors, else the file will not compile. So we're going to make sure all of this is indented up, and then the area above it needs to be indented underneath student management. And there you go. And everything is now done. If you are interested in learning more about Metaphor or Humbug, check out the other videos on this YouTube page. You can head over to the website m6r.ai, and that will give you a tour of Humbug, Metaphor, blog pages about them, and also the open to use GitHub repositories. Thank you for watching.